Hey, brothers and sisters, blessed that we have a new day. So, I'm new to this. I think I said that in my last video. I just kind of wanted to share a little bit about my life. I grew up in a broken situation like many. I spent about the first 8 years of my life that I remember with my grandma and grandpa, my step grandpa, and they fought a lot. You know, that's just normal. Um, he drank a lot, and you know, that was a little bit hard to watch, but that's life. Whenever I was about 8 years old, my mom was finally able to bring us back into her home or her apartment. And I think a little bit over a year from there, she had gotten with a ex-convict. He that's just whatever. And so she wouldn't let him go, you know. And so for I think a good till till I was about sophomore year, I was pretty much treated like a convict. That's just normal or whatever. Not normal, but whenever you grow up with people that are institutionalized, they feel that they have to institutionalize you. That's all they know, so that's what they teach. And he tried or whatever, but it was such a mental. There was so much mental warfare. I was young, so I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand how lethal, how much somebody could play with your mind. And I think it was about 12 years old, um, after a couple years of pretty much just only being able to sit in my room after school, I almost took my life. I went to the back tree. I had some rope, and it was pretty much almost there. And then, just beforehand, as I was about to do it, I know the Lord called on me, and He asked me pretty much what I haven't seen. I told Him a whole lot. Told Him I hadn't seen a whole lot yet. And He told me to go see it, to go experience it. So, I did. I took everything down, and I went on with my existence. You know, it was such a battle growing up. I had to learn to cook for myself. My mom was always working. He wasn't. We had no money. I guess the usual struggles. People have had it worse. You know, I went through life for a little bit. I did go to church, but I had strayed because of lust. I had so many lustful people. And again, I struggled with lust because I was, I'll just say, hurt as a child before he came, so I can't blame him. But I was hurt. I didn't understand it, and I brought it into every single part of my life afterwards, and I wondered why relationships didn't work out whenever I was young. But I understand that now. Anyway, as I'm in my teens, I continued on, went to church here and there, but I still didn't fully grasp what was over my life. I grew up around people that were part of my family that were hard into drug dealing. From the age of 16, I didn't deal hard drugs, but from the age of 16 up forth, I sold weed. I just sold weed to everybody. Sold weed to everybody in my school. Sold weed to older people. I smoked every single day up until I smoked 10 years every single day. There was only one instance where, and I'll get to that, where I didn't. And even then, I still smoked. So going forth from 16, like I said, I got into dealing cannabis, got into selling it. I didn't know anything else. I knew I could have a job, and I did have, some side jobs here and there, but I sold weed. And whenever I got to 20, I actually got into the cannabis industry. I full on, legitly. I got my first job, and to be honest, that was a blessing. I got to do whatever. I got to grow weed legally. I got to sell it, well, still illegally. And it was around also 20. 18, I got kicked out of my house as soon as I had gotten an actual job. And then I have rheumatoid arthritis and I have health problems, so I slowly lost that job. And then it got to where I was growing cannabis at 20. And, it was good for a while. That place shut down, and then I was just kind of doing jobs here and there. And then at 21, I had met one of my best friends. She was my best friend. And she was dealing with a lot of hard things, as I was, but she was extreme. She was a good girl, but she was extreme. She got hooked on to pills, originally from her therapist, and then she went to Xanax, and then she went to kind of whatever she could get. We went all over the place. We went everywhere. I drove her back from California after she had bought a car. And of course, we did a lot of sinful things for money. So many things I'm not proud of, that I wish I could have gone back. But I know everything happens for a reason. Well, we get back, and I grew up, like I said, around hard drug dealing, but it wasn't my taste. And but just so I wouldn't push her away, she started doing cocaine, and eventually, because I didn't want to push her away, I didn't want her to feel unwanted, I started doing cocaine with her again. And granted, I've done it before, and I could stop it at any time. It didn't hold me, but with her, I couldn't tell her no. A few months later, she wanted to do some stupid pills that she had gotten off her drug dealer. I told her no, that I was okay. We didn't speak for a few days, and I didn't go and pick her up, and then I think a couple days later, she overdosed. Her heart had stopped. And I started drinking myself practically to death. I didn't know what else to do. And so she loved Alaska. She had lived there for a little bit, so I'd gotten a job up there with intentions on taking my own life and just calling it that. I was just gonna give up. But again, the Lord spoke to me after I'd quit smoking weed just so I could get up there and have a job. It's not like they drug tested me, but it's just because I knew I wouldn't have much up there. And so the Lord spoke to me as I was on a trail, probably going to take my last hike. And he spoke to me again. What yet have you not seen? And I still told him, there's still a lot I haven't seen. There's still so much that I want to experience, but I don't know how to keep going. And so he told me to go see it. So I came down from the mountain trail, and I came back home, got another cannabis job. It's what I'm good at, growing things. Not necessarily just cannabis, but growing in general. And shortly afterwards, I'd gotten a really good job, actually, after doing my due diligence, in the hot outdoor field. I eventually got a nice indoor job growing, and I had that for a few months, and then I had a motorcycle accident. I almost lost my foot. Someone cut me off, and we'll just leave it at that. So I couldn't walk for maybe 8 to 9 months by myself. I didn't know if they told me I didn't know if I was gonna be able to walk again on that foot. My foot was like sideways. It was like and the Lord brought me through it. And I learned I couldn't do nothing for several months, so I sat there watching YouTube, but I learned how to 3D print. I learned how to design. I learned how to work on the machines. And that was something I wouldn't have done on myself because I was so distracted. He had to sit me down. He had to show me what I needed to do, what I needed to learn to move on to a new part of my life. And, I took that. And again, I was so stubborn. I said, thank you, Lord. I went right back to growing. Worked outside for about another year, so that rolls in from 2022 into 2023, and then just grows just started closing down, and of course, I was one of them. And so I let go. I found several jobs, but I just let it all go. I started working at a dollar store, and then I met somebody great. After I lost where I was living, she let me live with her. She didn't have a place of her own because she was in college, and she goes to college far away, and in the next state, and but it was enough to get me into my new apartment, and I will admit, afterwards somebody offered me a grow job, but I almost had to take it because it paid really good, and it got me into the next step of my life. But where I also went wrong is I started falling back into my old ways again. I was so stupid to forget how much God had pulled me through. I was so stupid. I started getting stressed, and I started smoking even more, and I started having a beer a day, and I'm talking like one of those Voodoo Ranger tall boys, so I mean those get you off pretty well. And I ended up losing her. She still thinks about me, and I still think about her. But around 6 months ago, just a little bit after we had broken up, she had broken up with me, I realized it was time to change, and I struggled. I struggled so much because of how far I was in with my mind, with all the thoughts that would come of failure, of just regret. And then the Lord had to break me. He had to break me. About 2 months ago, I completely stopped smoking dabs. It just gives me anxiety. And about a month, maybe a month and a half, I'd say around the same time, I just stopped smoking weed. I maybe took a couple of hits here and there, but I was full of anxiety and conviction. And the Lord had to change that for me. I completely stopped drinking. And anytime, if I am handed a beer, I don't take it, but if I willingly and gotten one, then I feel conviction. It's not relaxing anymore. And Monday I'd quit my grow job. There was so much just spiritual attack. I knew it was time to move on. I knew that where I was at was not where I was supposed to be. So now I'm in a transition. I'm in transition from where I was to where I'm supposed to be. And I know the Lord is going to take care of me because He's done it before. But there is no buts. All I hope is that you guys can take away part of this and maybe understand that the Lord is on your side. He's going to get you through so many things that you never thought you would make it through. He's going to change a part of you on the inside that you didn't even know was broken. He's going to refresh your soul and make your life new. He will do this for you because He's done it for me. Somebody that was so stuck in the world that didn't even know it. I was born into this world, but I realize I'm not of this world. None of us are. And there's so many more things that I've done that I'm not proud of. But I know the Lord does not remember those. So he erases it from my memory as well. So that way we can step into the newness of life. You know, I was homeless several times, just out of circumstance. But the Lord had gotten me through it. He had brought me to something greater. To where if I would have stayed there, even forcefully, I would have never stepped into the new stage of my life. To each new stage that I go through. So I pray this over you. I pray that you can trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Submit to him in all your ways, and I know he will make your path straight. I love you guys. I pray for you guys. Keep me in your prayers too. Amen.